Hello all my aces and welcome back to a very special episode. Now deep inside the vaults of my secret bunker I recently found a few hidden gems. And these are recordings I made for the Centenary Commemoration of the Escadrille Lafayette. So that's the American pilots who flew for the French during World War I, before the United States in fact joined the war. A commemoration happened last year, and for some reason I've always omitted to show you guys all these little videos that I made. Now we'll start off light here with just a couple of models of the respective aircraft and some of the later models that didn't exactly see service in World War I. But it was nice seeing some of those biplanes. Now, this commemoration happened in France, of course, near Paris, in the suburbs, and this here is the monument that was erected to these roughly 60 pilots that gave their life defending France as volunteers. Now, of course, there were quite a few guests invited. There was the American ambassador, a couple of French politicians, and so on. But really, the men that gave their lives were put to the forefront, which was very remarkable to experience. Now, this was a commemoration that was organized by both the French and the Americans together. So they worked hand in hand to make this happen, to realize it. And it was very interesting to see how the French and the American way of commemorating the fallen kind of combined themselves during this event. And as the bands here get ready for the proceedings, we also can see the inscription on the memorial to the memory of the heroes of the Escadrille Lafayette that died to defend law and liberty. Of course, the memorial is flanked by the American flag and the French flag on the other side. And as far as I know, if you ever happen to go to Paris in France, you can visit this memorial yourself. Probably have to check out their website. I'll probably put a link below for opening hours and so on. But it's a very nice little park, very quiet, very well made. And below this memorial, you also have the tombs of the pilot that fell during the war. Let's listen into the French Army choir here. That is, of course, the emblem of the Escadrille Lafayette, a Sioux head. And inscribed on the memorials are also all the fields they fought in. There are the names of the pilots. Washington, of course. And then the band starts playing as some of the higher dignitaries arrive. Now, I'm not quite sure how it is done, for example, in the United States, but in France, every time there's a commemoration, there's usually a short portion of it where les anciens combattants, so that's the veterans of the French army, come in and essentially portent le drapeau, which means that they carry the flag. And that's what you can see happening here. All these men that are carrying them are essentially elected by their veteran organization. to carry the specific flag of their regiment, or simply a flag of the French Republic. And you have this happen in pretty much all the commemorations that happen in France. And it's an integral part, essentially, to give these guys who were veterans, who might have fought in some kind of theater, for example in China, a moment not only to honor the flag, but also to honor them in a way. Now, a couple of quick words on the Escadrille Lafayette. As I said, these were American volunteers that flew in French machines, commanded by French officers, being taken care of by French mechanics and so on. And that flew very valiantly, in fact, for the French Air Force, or well, the French Army. The French Air Force did not exist at that point. And some of them even stayed with the French after the United States entered the war and kept on serving in the French armed forces instead of joining the armed forces of their own country, before then, of course, returning to the United States after the war. A couple of medals there on a veteran. And here we have a name list of all the pilots when they died on the battlefield. It's quite a long list. As you can see, a lot of them died in 1918 when the air war was really starting to pick off. I mean, in 1916, of course, it started with the real chasseurs, with the fighter planes, but in 1918 it was a completely different world.
Célèbre le centenaire de l'Escadrille Lafayette et rend hommage à la mémoire de tous les pilotes qui ont volé au sein de cette escadrille historique. Cette cérémonie est organisée par la Commission américaine des monuments de guerre, la fondation du même...
Now, of course, I didn't film during the actual ceremony. That would have been a bit strange. But I gotta say, you Americans, you know how to put on a good show. So after the ceremony, we had a couple of flybys, and I'm not quite sure if the people that live around this memorial in the suburbs knew this was happening, but if they didn't, this must have raised some heads.
Recognized here at the memorial, as well as their French commanders.
But this is something that you usually don't see in France. In America, that's probably different. Now comes the highlight, the B-52. Oh yes, flown in specifically from North Dakota to take part in this commemoration. So yeah, that raised some heads, not just here in the park, but I think everywhere in Paris, as these French and American fighter jets, and of course B-52, flew just a couple of 100 meters above the ground. I don't know what kind of strings had to be pulled for the government to allow this, but I'm glad it was allowed. Yeah, that brings us to the end of it. I hope you guys enjoyed this little look at a commemoration that happened in France. I'm not quite sure how much you heard about it in the United States, but one of the things that I take away always when you have this kind of American-French dynamic from the First World War is how thankful the French are actually for the service that and the help by these volunteers. How good the relations between these two countries was at the time. So that is, a part of history that maybe now is a little bit forgotten. But yeah, I thought I'd share it a little bit with you guys, and hope you enjoyed. And as always, have a great day, good hunting, and see you in the sky.